folks. This right here is known as the Torch of Friendship, which was given to us in 2002 by a Mexican artist named Sebastian. It stands at 68 feet tall in the middle of Alamo Street Bridge and is supposed to represent the intertwining friendship between us and Mexico to this day and for years to come.
What?
As long as it doesn't get in the phone, I don't care.
Yeah, it's like...
Now, as we exit from underneath Market Street Bridge, I want you to pay attention to the left-hand side of the barge. Now, you are going to see the Hilton Palacio del Rio, which this hotel was built in a record time of 202 working days by H.B. Zachary's construction company and laid for April 4th, 1968 with the World's Hemisphere, which was San Antonio's 250th year anniversary celebration as a city. Now this building here, built from the 4th floor down, including the elevator shafts and the pool area, all here on site. While from the 5th floor up, every single individual room that you see there being fully built and fully furnished about 9 miles from this very location. We're brought 9 miles too, stacked on top of each other individually like Lego blocks, giving it its name, the Lego Hotel of 68. This was built by H.B. Zachary's construction company and is the picture of procrastination because it was completed just 204 days before World's Hemisphere started on April 4th, 1968. It opened its doors just 2 days before World's Hemisphere started on April 2nd, 1968. And it was also completed that same evening. Now, as soon as it opened its doors, every single room was filled with family. Now, off from the Hilton Palacio del Rio, to my left-hand side is La Villita, which in 1722 was settled by Spanish soldiers known as Little Village, while in 1836 used by General Santa Anna in his cannon line in the mission San Antonio de Alamo, more or less known as the Battle of the Alamo. To this day, having the market area that has been the same since 1722, but has also been renovated, and also adding in 2 restaurants in 1941. It is also directly connected to the Arneson River Theater, which we are entering here currently, which is where we host all of our folklore, tropes, and concerts for any special events here on the river. Now this area not only being where they host those shows, but also being where they film a variety of movies, including Miss Congeniality starring Sandra Bullock. Coming up to your right-hand side, as we pass by the 2 waterfalls here, you will see a sculpture of a man herding bull, which the sculpture of the man herding bull here is known as the Camino de Galvez. It is supposed to represent the cattle drives that happened in the Old West and was given to us just a year after the Briscoe Western Art Museum opened here in October of 2013. It is one of the many exhibits for this building. Now, the Briscoe Western Art Museum, which sits behind it, opened its doors in October of 2013, but was not always known as the Briscoe. This building was known as the San Antonio Public Library between 1929 and 1967. And from 1968 all the way to 2001, the Hertzberg Circus Museum occupied this very location here until its exhibit moved to Tucson. Now we're going to make our way underneath Preston Street Bridge, and as soon as we come out from the other side, I want you to pay attention to the right. You are going to see a small island made up entirely of the roots of the Cypress tree that sit on it to this day. Well, this small island here to my right-hand side is known as Marriage Island. From a bird's eye view, is in the shape of a heart and is made up entirely of the roots of the cypress tree that sit on it to this day. And not only that, on top of the island sits a black sculpture known as Father Massenet's Table, which was given to us in 1991 by a Mexican artist named Orlando Briseño to commemorate the Catholic Mass to happen here on the San Antonio River area, held by Father Massenet in 1691. From underneath the Navarro Street Bridge, here to my right-hand side is the Westin Hotel, which the Westin Hotel is very popular, stayed by NBA players. This right here has no historical significance whatsoever, but is pet-friendly. So it is one of the few pet-friendly hotels here on the Riverwalk. And off from the Westin Hotel, I want you to pay attention directly in front of the barge. You're going to see a kind of upside-down honey hive tower, which this honey hive tower right here is known as the Bexar County Courthouse. It's connected to the building, all made out of red sandstone with a green brick top. It is the longest operating courthouse in the San Antonio area, operating for over 100 years and counting. Off from Bexar County Courthouse, if you look up to your left-hand side, you will see everybody's favorite building during the tour. Now this right here is known as the Tower Light, after the two very superstitious brothers who had this building built for over $3 million, having a neo-Gothic design structure. Now the neo-Gothic design structure here consisted of the ugly faces here above the tree line, more or less known as grotesque, and also the gargoyles sitting all the way at the top of the building. It was supposed to ward off bad spirits and bad business during the time of the Great Depression when the building opened its doors, but unfortunately for the brothers who had this building built, it did not work. Now, shortly after opening the doors to this building, shortly after the Great Depression started, not only did they end up losing this building here for 10 cents on the dollar, but they also ended up going completely bankrupt shortly after, losing everything that they had and forcing one of the brothers to make a sort of leap of faith off of this building here. To this day, it acts as kind of an extension to the Bexar County Courthouse. This is where all the law offices are. These are where the lawyers come from. Now coming up to your right-hand side, as we exit St. Mary Street Bridge, this right here is known as the International Center. Which the International Center between 1968 and 2001 was known as the San Antonio Public Library when the Hertzberg Circus Museum opened its doors. Not only that, underneath it, what has remained the same since 1968 and has retained the same damage, our old marina, where we store a majority of our boats in our Go Rio fleet. Us having 43 brand new boats in our fleet, 5 different boats, 4 different colors. Now I'll tell you more about those as we enter the man-made area of the Riverwalk. But until then, this building now to this day, instead of having the San Antonio Public Library, has 2 restaurants, trade offices for Canada, Mexico, the United States, and also at the top of it there is now a ballroom. Below everything, still our old marina where we store a majority of our boats here. If you don't like loud noises, go ahead and cover your ears. I'm going to honk my horn not once but twice to make my way into the flood channel of the Riverwalk. On the count of 3, 1, 2. Now, as we exit this area of the Riverwalk, we are entering the deepest part of this river here. Now, this is the flood channel of the Riverwalk. It is about 15 to 20 feet deep in this area, so please keep your seats at this time. Now, we just came out of a 4 to 5 feet deep area, and one of the 5 floodgates located here on the Riverwalk. Now, this right here is known as Floodgate 4. It comes up and out of the water to protect this area of the Riverwalk. It only stands about 9 feet above river level. If you pay attention about 200 yards behind me, though, you will see a large stop in the water. Does everybody see this back here? Now, folks, that back there is known as Floodgate 5. It regulates the water levels here in the Riverwalk and is a 15-foot drop on which we do not make our way back. Now, although you see him going down there, the only reason he's going down there is because our new marina is down there. It's right before the floodgate. Now, the river does continue about 10 miles down south as the San Antonio Riverwalk into the San Jose Mission, and 138 miles down south from the natural springs up north in Greeley, Texas, as the San Antonio River all the way into the Guadalupe. Before I go ahead and get on to the rest of these floodgates and why they were put there, though, I want you to look up to your left-hand side. You're going to see Lovelock Overlook, which Lovelock Overlook here is a tradition derived from the Lovelock Bridge in Paris. This right here being where you take your loved one, you lock your padlock up on the overlook, and you throw your keys in the water to commemorate you guys' love forever and ever and ever. Oh. While our overlook, on the other hand, being the prime example of people who don't know how to follow tradition in the San Antonio area. Because if you look up there, you don't see a lot of padlocks up there with keys in the water. You see more combination locks up there, which people walked away from and hope for the best in their relationship. Now, folks, as I said, there are a couple more floodgates located here on the Riverwalk, including Floodgate 3, which we will be entering here shortly. This floodgate making its way down guillotine style to protect the front areas of the Riverwalk from any large flood, again only standing about 9 feet above river level, but having the panel at the top which makes its way down. Now if we were to continue straight to the back areas, we would see floodgate 2, which is our lock and dam. This acting as a canal lock for our boats, bringing our boats up 8.8 feet and letting us out, giving us access to the Pearl Brewery area, which is about 2.5 miles from this very location. And also right in between the Pearl Brewery area and Breckenridge Park sits floodgate 1, which all of these floodgates were given as countermeasures just in case we were to ever host another flood as large as the flood of 1921. This being our largest flood in history. It bringing the water levels here to 9 feet above street level, killing 50 people, if not more, and also leaving over $3 million in property damage here on the San Antonio Riverwalk, which all of these floodgates were completed as countermeasures just in case we were to ever host another flood as large as such. Luckily, since they had been put up in 1941, they have not had to be used like that. The only floodgate we use on a regular basis is floodgate 2, which was completed in 2009 to make our lock and dam so that we can get our shuttle up to the Pearl. Folks, we are entering floodgate 3 once more. Go ahead and look up to your right hand side as we enter though. You're going to see a 3rd generation fig tree poking out of the wall. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this big tree right here is rumored to have made its way from the top of the river during the flood of 1921 as a sapling, lodged itself in the wall here, and has been growing and still produces fruit to this day. Although it looks dead at this moment, that's only because it's wintertime. But this tree right here is still alive, and it is 3rd generation. The other fig trees have died. Also, past the fig tree here to my right hand side are 3 hard-working boat captains. Go ahead and wave to these hard-working boat captains. Hello, guys. I miss you so much it hurts sometimes. And also to my right hand side is the Esquire Tavern, the first tavern to open in the Texas area when Prohibition was lifted and alcohol became legal in all 48 states. Now this right here, opening its doors after masquerading as a barbershop around the times of Prohibition. This being the only barbershop you could go into expecting to get a haircut, but get yourself a nice hearty drink underneath. Now I'd have the secret bar, which is still there to this day, under the building. Now to this day, since December 6, 1933, not only does it house the longest wooden bar table in Texas, but just 5 minutes after Prohibition ended on December 6, it had a fully stocked bar both upstairs and downstairs when alcohol became legal. Oh yes, the convenience was amazing, and it's still pretty convenient to this day. Now pay attention to your right hand side. You are going to see the Aztec Theater, which opened its doors in 1926. And this right here is the only Aztec Theater left in the Texas area to this day, being where the silent picture films were being hosted during the Roaring 20s. Now this Aztec Theater and every other Aztec Theater ran strong until about the 1970s, 1980s, when they were all coded for demolition. This was the only one to gain its historic license and been saved from the demolition it was coded for ever since, and be the only one open in the Texas area to this day. It still hosts shows. Charlie Chaplin has performed there, and just recently they had a couple concerts going on. Now, if you're looking for Salinas Bridge here in the San Antonio area, look directly in front of the barge. This right here is where Jennifer Lopez made a brief appearance dressed as Selena during the 1997 production of that movie commemorating Selena's death in '95. It's right here. This is Salinas Bridge. God rest her soul, all for Selena. Now, so here to my right-hand side, this is the Go Rio Rio Shuttle, which our Go Rio Shuttle here is like a bus service on the water. Your ticket costs $16 per person for just a one-day combination pass. It'll take you all the way up to the Pearl Brewery and back down. Now, we do have different packages. You can also get our 3-day pass, which will last you 3 days, and it'll take you all the way up to the Pearl and back. And if you're a resident, we have a monthly pass for you as well. Here to my left-hand side, now known as the La Mansión del Rio, in 1853 was known as St. Mary's School for Boys, an all-boys school in the downtown areas within the focuses of law and business. Now, after 1906 is when they finally overcrowded the downtown area and became a co-educational school. It now stands to this day as St. Mary's School for Law and Business on the northwest side of San Antonio since 1906. Now, before I go ahead and continue on the tour, I'm going to go ahead and pull over so I can let these guys go past us. And then as soon as we exit this bridge here, I want you to look to the left-hand side of the barge and all the way up. You are going to see San Antonio's largest optical illusion. and they're still acting as a fully functional hospital to this day on the upper levels.